What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the other side of the Firewall podcast, where we talk about the latest and greatest in cybersecurity news, as well as we highlight those movers and shakers and glass ceiling breakers, those people of color who've made it to the other side of the proverbial firewall. My name is Ryan Williams, and as always, I'm joined by Shannon.
What's up? What's up?
What's going on? Welcome to Wednesday's episode. Monday and Tuesday are topics. So on Monday, we discussed how the private sector should be more proactive when interfacing with the White House and their invitations for cybersecurity. And then on Tuesday, we talked about a new scam on Google search for USPS. It's pretending to be the USPS site and it's stealing people's information and charge them for it. So a novel concept, right? So just be vigilant. Check out the episode for things you should already know. And then today is our discussion. So without further ado, I give it to Shannon.
All right, everybody. So this one is from darkreading.com again. Nate Nelson is the writer of this one, and it's Meta's rush to topple Twitter sets up looming privacy debate. So GDPR over in the EU is halting Meta's new Threads app from entering the EU markets, right? And they're saying it's a struggle over the right ways to collect user data on social apps, right? So I don't think this is something that's specific to Meta. First off, right? Like this is something that any new type of social media that's collecting any type of personal information, like you're going to run into, I don't want to call it a hurdle, but you're going to run into having to deal with GDPR when it comes to entering the EU markets, right? But that's what they're doing here is they're just being slow about it. And again, so this is because of new things that are coming down next year. I want to say it was for the EU, where they're making some changes on how things are collected, how you're notified, things of that nature. But Threads, which got off to a raging start, like the first day, I want to say they had like 10 million accounts or something like that, and then within 2 days it was 30 million, and that's all without the EU market. You know what I mean? Like that's without any of those countries over there. Having any type of accounts created for them. But this is the discussion for this is okay. I guess it's more along the lines of is this something that everybody should be doing, right? Like, so we already know with social media, we already know, you've said it several times on this show, Ryan, like if you're not paying anything, right? Like how is the payment for these social media accounts, right? It's your data, right? That's how they're getting paid for it. So for every person that has a free account, they're making this much money, selling stuff for you. In the EU, they're just trying to avoid that, right? GDPR keeps that from being, let me not say avoiding it, right? Because they'll still let you have social media, but they're just making you aware of how your data is being represented out there and how it's being given out, right? Because with GDPR, I know you're more familiar with it than I am. They actually notify you when your information is out there or something like that, right? Like they tell you, hey, this is how your information is being used, right? Or am I wrong on that? Or
Well, so I think it's more along the lines of there's certain things that they cannot do with your data, and you have the ability to ask for it. So you can say, "Hey,
okay.
give me my data. I want to know what you've collected on me." And then if you want to erase your footprint, you can tell them like get rid of that. Those are the biggest hitters when it comes to GDPR.
It's like 8 different tenets for it, I want to say, right? It
Yeah.
is what it is. Yeah, I remember seeing it, but I know you've dealt with it more than what I have, and you're more familiar with it than I am. But like this is something where I get it, right? Like anybody trying to get into the social media game going into the EU, this is what you have to deal with, right? So like Threads it's going to come across this not just because it's Meta, right? It's because it is social media that's provided for free, and it's the data being out there and how it's used and how the EU wants to go about making sure people are aware of how their data is being used and like you said, can tell them to get rid of it. Now, I'm curious how they could tell them to get rid of it or do whatever at that point, right? Like I wonder if they tell them, okay, we can do that, but you have to get rid of the account as well, or I don't know how that works because I don't.
That's the catch. Yeah, that's the catch with
Yeah.
Threads. So unbeknownst to many of us who signed up, if you ask, because you can deactivate your account, but if you ask to delete your Threads account, it takes your Instagram with it. I don't care because I don't use it, but Instagram is a very like compared to Threads, Instagram is a humongous thing, right? Like people's IG accounts have hundreds of thousands of hours of them building their network, so that you're basically like they captured you. You've been ensnared, if you will.
That's interesting. That's
Yeah.
interesting. So like, okay. So I mean, I guess you can't go into this haphazardly then, right? You gotta be educated on it to know whether or not,
Yeah,
that's gonna
100
happen.
million people did.
Yeah. 100 million, you said,
That's what they're up to. Yeah.
for threats?
hmm I've already hit 100 million. Yep. It was 30 off the rip that I signed up the evening of the 5th of Wednesday. 'Cause I was like, let me just jump on this thing. So I signed up just to make sure I secure my name as though someone was going to steal it. And then that evening, per se, the next day, they posted 70 million. Like, wow, we're growing beyond we thought we would, right? We've already hit certain thresholds prior to our roadmap. And then recently they were like, yeah, we're at 100 million. That's without the EU.
That's phenomenal. That's in like 5 days time. It launched on
Yeah.
the 5th or something like that, right? 4 days, something like that. Wow, that's phenomenal. I was not tracking that because I'm not the social media guy, but the first day I read some stories and saw the numbers, and I was like, man, that's jumping up there. But 100 million is that's nothing to laugh at, man. That's nothing to laugh at all. So, but you have a Threads account, man. Like, what's your thoughts on it? Like,
Uh,
you're off a
it's
little bit.
Yeah, I'm like it's just Twitter. So I have a Twitter account for mostly work purposes, right? And then also the news. So like news spreads faster on Twitter than anywhere else, at least from what I've seen. So when it comes to like social cybersecurity I would say corners of the world. I get a lot of my information from there, but also just breaking news when it came to like the coup in Russia or remember that earthquake that hit New York and we could feel it in Maryland. Remember that was years ago. I had a chime from Twitter as the ripple hit the house. That's how quickly news spreads on Twitter. And it was just weird, right? Because no, I think the earthquake was in Bethesda or something. I think it was in Bethesda, Maryland, but New York felt it, and so did we in Hampton, Virginia. And everybody went crazy on Twitter because they're like, "How did you feel what I just felt?" Like that doesn't compute. Not knowing how the landmass is shaped, it's definitely feasible. But I say all to say, I literally got a Twitter chime as the couch moved, and I was like, "What was that?" Um, that's how quickly information is spread, right? However, over the recent events of Elon picking up Twitter and just the political nonsense before he picked it up with people who can be banned, who can't be banned, who has freedom to this, that's supposed to be like the internet's town square, right? And then Elon picked it up saying that it would be more free than ever, and then he laid off almost all of its employees and crippled his infrastructure in just some days to now where it seems to be more leveled out. It seems to be functioning better. And then, oh, by the way, Mark Zuckerberg threw his hat in a ring and he made a near duplicate of Twitter. So now there's impending lawsuit coming because Elon is not happy about it. However, at the end of the day, I don't know what you can make that functions like Twitter that doesn't look like Twitter. Like it's just that's how Facebook works. And not to say that this dude will ever watch this episode, but he does a really good job of mimicking other people's platforms and then launching things. So I mean that's kind of like what he does. So now he has the whole metaverse, right? So he has Facebook and IG and Threads and all that good stuff. So it's just a matter of time before he takes over that landscape as well. So I created an account. I wanted to make sure I secured my place in line. There's isn't much happening over there. It really is just me following the same people I followed on Twitter, except for the climate is a little bit cooler. Like Twitter, Reddit, wherever you want to go on social media, they're all cesspools. Like there's somebody complaining about something, somebody attacking somebody. It's just the way it is. The only thing cool about Threads right now is that those people haven't made it over there yet, or if they have, they're not the vocal minority yet. But it's just a matter of time. So I don't know what would distinguish Threads from Twitter, but all I know is that when they open up an EU, he will probably surpass 150, 200 million people overnight. Like he just has to get his policies together to get approval. So because everybody wants off Twitter so bad.
Well, I think he already knew it was coming, right? So just for like anything Meta, like he was already going to have to deal with what GDPR was doing for next year anyway, like the changes they were making. So
Yeah.
it wasn't like they didn't know it was coming. In my mind, right? Like you can't be the billionaire that he is without having him think about it or people that he's hired think about those things, right? But I think it was just a matter of okay, like you're mentioning, like the different things in the climate that was like, okay, we got to get this out now, right? Like we can get some of this more of this share in the social media uh, arena.
Yeah,
As
yeah.
opposed
Basically kick them eyes down. Like Twitter is not doing so hot right now. Let's hurry up and launch this to get a foothold because people want to migrate to something else. And he, as you can see, he's very successful. Because if my numbers are incorrect, right? Because I believe he said 100 million, but it's over 70 million. So somewhere between 70 million and 100 million people right now. So it'd be 100 million in no time flat. And that's just based off like people want it off of Twitter, but it he didn't change much. Like it looks like Twitter is missing some things. It has some features that are missing. But I think the real hook is not telling people, or at least not making it very visible, that if you delete your Threads account, you delete your Instagram account as well. So now he has people who cannot leave. And that's only to the platform's benefit. However, I don't care. Like my IG has nothing. It has this stuff on it. Like I used to post episodes, and it's a different format. It's a different. It doesn't look right. Like you have to build things specifically for IG. I was just taking content that I made here in Zoom and trying to stick it over there, and it looks like horribleness. It's not scaled properly. I just never really got a grasp of IG, so I stopped using it. But now I guess my IG account is live again because I have a Threads account. So maybe I'll start to use it in some regard. I mean, I even have the Meta Quest 2 in the office uh for that and impending metaverse that'll launch one day, right? Like that I have little faith in it. However, he's cornered the market. He has every single thing you could think of uh to feed the metaverse to make it a real thing. I just think his vision of it and everybody else's is not quite there yet. Um, so he has plenty of time to get his ducks in a row to get over to the EU without facing a bunch of either pushback or fines in the future. Because I believe it wasn't too long ago where he was fined like millions of dollars because of GDPR and some other things. So obviously you want to be a little bit cautious, but he also has the bankroll to outspend it to get himself secured in that arena as well. So uh, we'll see if Threads becomes the new Twitter, or if Elon is able to fight back and perhaps shut it down, but I doubt it.
you find if you find him millions of dollars, like he hits you with the semi right from coming to America, he's like, not my pocket money.
Right,
Like,
right. Like
there's
this
no way.
man, he was a billionaire at 23, right? So he has money to make this thing happen. I think he was just waiting for the right time. And this was the right time. Like the Twitter is at, not to say that his user count's not at all-time low, but the people's reception of Twitter is at all-time low. Uh, it's just Elon has a plan. We talked about it with Levon. Like I believe he does have a plan. I believe everything he does somehow ties back to his other companies. So SpaceX, Tesla, the Boring Company, the Hyperloop thing he has popping off. Somehow Twitter will be integrated in that. But I think I don't know if it's hubris or what, but he really rubbed people the wrong way. He lost a big number of users, and will he ever get them back? I don't know, but Threads definitely has at least those users plus people who have duplicate accounts. Like I said, like I'm at Security Guy on both. I'll probably post on both. Um, he no longer has the market cornered, so to speak. Definitely continue to tune in throughout the week. Again, Monday, Tuesday are topics. Wednesdays, a discussion like this one every week. And then Thursdays, I try to squeeze in an Ask Us SP. So this week will be Daryl Brooks. Hit us up at all the platforms. Give me a personally, I'm at Security Guy. I'm on all the things I mentioned before. Stay safe, stay secure.